The marketplace of Galactica Prime pulsed with life. Stalls brimming with vibrant alien goods caught the attention of a myriad of visitors. Interstellar travelers mingled, each bringing their culture into conversation. Commander Alara of the Zinther Empire navigated through the throngs, her eyes scanning for any sign of unrest or mischief among the crowd. As she inspected a stall selling glimmering crystal orbs from the planet Lernax, she caught a glimpse of a figure that stood out like a comet in the night sky. A human clad in a Navy diplomatic uniform was energetically engaging the stall owner. Jasper Thompson, they called him, a newly minted envoy from Earth. I'm telling you, this orb would look incredible in your mother's garden. Brightens up the whole place. Jasper laughed, his deep voice ringing out. The Lernaxian seller, bewildered, placed a hand on his chest, unsure whether to laugh or be confused. Alara moved closer, curious. She hadn't often seen humans in such a light, capable of bringing joy and laughter to an otherwise serious day. As she approached, Jasper turned, his vibrant blue eyes capturing her gaze. Ah, you must be one of the esteemed Zinther commanders. I'm Jasper, obviously, he said, extending a hand enthusiastically. Alara, she replied, shaking his hand while noting the warmth in his grip. What brings you to Galactica Prime? A little diplomacy, a lot of exploration. I'm here for the Galactic Trade Summit, but I guess I got a little distracted by the shiny things. He pointed at the crystal orbs with a grin. A solid distraction, no? Alara couldn't help but smile. You're not thoroughly wrong. These items do have their charm, if not their practicality. Jasper's laughter reverberated through the stalls as he turned toward her, enthusiasm brimming in his expression. Practicality is overrated. Ever tried telling a joke to a Zinther politician? It's like trying to teach a rock to swim. Alara chuckled despite herself. That's quite an exaggerated image. You've apparently been in the position of negotiating with them? More like surviving it, he replied, leaning against a nearby stall. I'll stick to making friends with the more amusing beings. Like you. Amusing, huh? Alara arched an eyebrow, intrigued. She hadn't been described that way before. Yes. Jasper exclaimed, straightening up and gesturing animatedly. I can tell already we're going to make history. Imagine, Earth and Zinther laughing together. Who wouldn't love to tell that tale? The notion surprised Alara. It's rare my people find common ground with humans, for instance. Laughter isn't usually a frequent visitor in political talks. You're entirely too serious, he remarked, his tone playful. Maybe I'll have to teach you humor. You already have a head start with that smile of yours. Before she could respond, a shrill noise echoed across the marketplace. A Zinther vendor yelped as a trove of anti-gravity fruit tumbled from a stall, rolling into the crowd. Chaos erupted. Alara instinctively stepped forward to assist the vendor. Stand back, she ordered, raising a hand. To me. Jasper, momentarily taken aback, realized he couldn't stand on the sidelines. I'm not leaving you to face this alone. He moved beside her, eyeing the rolling fruit like it was a battlefield. With fast reflexes, Alara positioned herself beside the vendor, scooping up wayward fruit. Just keep your head down and avoid the green ones. They explode if stressed. Exploding fruit? Jasper asked, raising an eyebrow. Now that's a story worth telling. They worked in tandem, laughter intermingling with urgency as they captured the runaway fruit. Alara's heart raced, not from fear, but from exhilaration. They wove through the crowd together, each movement in sync as they collected the errant bounty. With an impressive final scoop, Alara caught the last of it. Not bad for two diplomats, Jasper said, breathing heavily, a pleased grin stretching across his face. That was hardly diplomatic. Alara laughed, brushing away some stray strands of hair that had escaped her neat bun. How can we move forward if we're not having a little fun? Humor connects, he replied seriously, though amusement danced in his eyes. But not with your exploding fruit. She shot back, and they both erupted into laughter, drawing glances from the crowd. As Alara turned to thank the vendor, she found Jasper watching her, admiration shimmering in his gaze. You know, he said quietly, for someone in a very serious role, you sure know how to bring a little light into the chaos. Thank you, she replied, caught off guard by the compliment. It's an adjustment. You mean getting used to humans? He teased, leaning closer, his voice lowered. Not quite, she responded coyly, feeling a warm flush creep onto her cheeks. You're different. He chuckled, a twinkle in his eye. Different can be good. How about we meet again tomorrow? I promise to make you laugh more than the exploding fruits. I agree, Alara said, her heart racing slightly. You can introduce me to some human humor. We'll turn you into a natural, he vowed playfully, giving her an exaggerated salute. You best not disappoint. Alara smiled, feeling both curious and eager. Count on me. Jasper winked before turning to leave, a bounce in his step. As she watched him disappear into the crowd, Ilara felt an unfamiliar flutter of excitement in her chest. The chaos of the marketplace had faded away and she was left with the lingering echo of laughter, a sound she hadn't realized she'd been missing. A fresh perspective shimmered before her, an opening to a connection she hadn't anticipated, one wrapped in joy and unexpected camaraderie. Perhaps her encounter with a human on Galactica Prime was just the beginning of something exhilarating. Chapter 2: Bridging Cultures. The following day, Ilara felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness as she arrived at their meeting spot, an open-air cafe adorned with twinkling lights and fragrant zinther blossoms. It was well known for its stunning view of the cosmic skyline, where stars twinkled like scattered diamonds. As she took a seat, she scanned the gathering crowd, hoping to spot Jasper. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the bustling marketplace. For a brief moment, she was lost in thought about their last encounter, his laughter, the rush of collecting the fruit, and the unspoken chemistry that lingered in the air. "Hope I didn't keep you waiting." Jasper's voice broke through her reverie and she looked up to see him dashing toward her, a broad smile plastered across his face. "Not at all," Ilara replied, her heart fluttering slightly as he plopped down across from her. "I just got here." "Perfect timing then." He glanced at the menu hovering above their table, his eyes widening comically. "Whoa. Are those really fried Syntherian vines? I have to try those." Ilara chuckled. "They're popular but can be quite pungent." "You sure you're ready for that?" "I'm always ready for an adventure," Jasper proclaimed. He glanced at the waiter, leaning over the table. "2 orders of those, please. And I'll take an earth coffee if you have it." Ilara raised an eyebrow. "Earth coffee? Not something Syntherians usually indulge in." "I'll convert you," he said, grinning confidently. "You'll see. It's a must-have. Consider me intrigued." Ilara leaned back, watching him with amusement. "What's so amazing about it?" Jasper's expression turned dramatic, his hands gesturing animatedly. "It's the warmth. The smell. Imagine waking up to the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. It's like a hug in liquid form." "Sounds comforting," she mused, but then added, "Does it also have magical properties? Perhaps it turns you into a superb diplomat." "Nah, I'm pretty sure that's just my natural charm," he winked, and Ilara couldn't help but laugh. The waiter returned with their orders, setting down 2 plates of fried vines and a steaming cup of earth coffee. Jasper's eyes lit up as he picked up the cup, inhaling deeply. "There's the hug." He took a sip and his face transformed into one of pure bliss. "See? Incredible." Ilara observed him with an amused expression. "All right, I'm sold on the coffee, not the charisma." Jasper grinned back, diving into the fried vines. "These are fantastic," he exclaimed, "so crispy and oddly sweet." Ilara watched him, chuckling as he savored every bite. "You came here to learn about our cultures and yet you seem more fascinated by food." "Food is culture," Jasper countered, waving a fry in the air for emphasis. "But seriously, I want to learn about everything. What do you Syntherians do for fun besides serious diplomacy?" Ilara took a moment to consider. "We enjoy festivals, music, and art. Our celebrations are vibrant and colorful. But much of it relies on tradition. Tradition can be great, but don't forget about spontaneity. You should try hosting an impromptu festival," Jasper suggested, leaning in excitedly. "Laughter, music, and a lot of, well, absurdity. Let me tell you about Earth's holiday called April Fool's Day." "April Fool's Day?" Ilara echoed, intrigued. "What happens on this day?" "Oh, it's the best. People play tricks on each other, trying to see who can come up with the funniest prank. It can get a bit wild," he explained. "For instance, one year, my friend put a whoopee cushion on our teacher's chair." "Priceless." Ilara laughed, picturing the scene in her mind. "I can't imagine how students reacted to that. It's utter chaos, but all in good fun. Everyone loves a good laugh, right?" he replied, pausing to relish another vine. "Perhaps we can adapt it for a Zinther festival." "I can see us playing pranks on our leaders," Ilara said, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Yes, you'd be the ultimate prankster commander." Jasper's excitement was infectious. "Imagine how liberating that would be. You'd truly get to see a different side of your people." "What would you do?" Ilara challenged, curious about his ideas. "Oh, I would hide faux invitations to a gala of galactic nonsense, with details about how to dress as gravity-defying aliens. People would come dressed in the wildest outfits," he exclaimed, his eyes sparkling. "Just watching their faces when they realize it's a joke would be priceless." Alara shook her head, laughing harder than she had in ages. You'd have a riot in your hands. Now you're getting it. Jasper grinned, sipping his coffee again. So, how about we start planning our first Zinther Earth Festival? I can show you some Earth comedy routines. I'm not sure how that would go over with the council, Alara said, biting her lip to suppress a smile. They might not appreciate absurdity over serious discussions. There's always a place for laughter, even in serious places, Jasper insisted. You'd be amazed how it can break the ice. Like our little misadventure in the market yesterday. All right? Alara relented, leaning in closer. You fueled this idea of a festival of laughter. But what if we don't just prank our leaders? What about an event for the community? Jasper's eyes lit up. That's even better. An interspecies festival. Very inclusive. I like how you think, Alara mused. We'd need to gather people from all over the galaxy, and that means more than jokes. We can showcase our respective cultures. Agreed. Music, food, laughter. It could create new connections. Jasper said, his excitement palpable. You'd be the perfect face for it. You're the commander, after all. I hope I don't end up regretting agreeing to this, she replied, mock seriousness creeping into her voice. Never. You'll come to love it, Jasper replied confidently. Now, how about we come up with a fantastic name? Galactic Glee? Intergalactic Festivala? Alara threw out a couple of ideas, but they fell short of Jasper's enthusiasm. Let's brainstorm until we find the most absurd one. You know what? We'll put all our ideas in a hat and draw one, he suggested, playful excitement radiating from him. You're relentless. You know that? Alara laughed, the moment feeling light and inviting. Only to get you to smile more, he shot back, leaning across the table. You may not realize it, but you're changing, Commander Alara. I see it. Alara held his gaze, warmth flooding her chest as she searched his eyes. Maybe you're just a bad influence. Guess I'll have to take that title, Jasper said, playful mischief dancing in his voice. But with you by my side, we'll make history, and have an unforgettable laugh while doing it. As Jasper raised his cup for a toast, Alara felt a spark of curiosity and excitement, contemplating the journey ahead. Who knew laughter could open so many doors? Chapter 3, A Twist of Fate. The weeks passed in a blur of laughter and shared stories. Alara and Jasper met daily, brainstorming ideas for their intergalactic festival. Each conversation seemed to layer their connection, creating a bond as unique as the galaxy itself. They punctuated work with jokes and exchanged playful banter, and each moment made Alara forget the heavy weight of her responsibilities. On a particularly bright day, they gathered again at the cafe, eager to refine their plans. Alara was scribbling notes on a holographic pad, while Jasper animatedly waved his hands as if he were conducting a symphony of ideas. I'm telling you, we need a talent show, Jasper declared, his enthusiasm infectious as he leaned across the table. A talent show? Alara raised an eyebrow. For what? Dancing Zintharians or human karaoke? Why not both? We could have a Galactic Got Talent segment, he exclaimed, his voice rising in excitement. Imagine it. Performances, music, and culture intertwining. Alara chuckled softly, picturing the absurdity of it. You may be onto something, but don't forget the potential for chaos. Jasper shrugged with a mischievous grin. Chaos leads to laughter. Remember the whoopee cushion. I'm conditioned to laughter now. You've ruined my serious demeanor. She laughed, shaking her head. What else have you got? Okay. How about we invite local artists from all planets? He suggested, his expression turning serious. They can showcase their work. We need to create an atmosphere of togetherness. I can't believe you're advocating for art now, Alara teased. Humanity truly is full of surprises. Surprises are what this festival needs. Since when were you against surprises? He shot back playfully. I'm not against surprises. I'm just against chaotic surprises, she answered, Fair point, he said, leaning back. But seriously, we can spotlight different cultures through art. Everyone can contribute. Alara nodded, seeing the wisdom in his words. That would add depth to the festival. We could even create a gallery space for it. Exactly. I can see the Xantharian murals and human abstract art side by side. How poetic. Jasper's face lit up with excitement. And we could have a storytelling corner. Share tales from across the galaxy. Storytelling? Now we're talking. Ilara's eyes sparkled. That could be an excellent way for all races to connect. There it is. That spark. Jasper exclaimed, leaning forward, his voice lowering conspiratorially. And just think about the food. Interplanetary cuisine. Ilara chuckled again as he raised his hands enthusiastically. Earth pizza mixed with Xanthar pastries? Maybe a fusion corner. Pizza and pastries? Ilara shook her head, barely able to contain her laughter. What kind of culinary monstrosity is that? A glorious one. Jasper laughed, refusing to be deterred. They continued bouncing ideas off each other, building a festival that seemed more fantastical with each passing moment. However, amid this excitement, Ilara realized how much Jasper's presence had altered her perspective. Her days felt brighter, and she anticipated these meetings like nothing before. As they wrapped up, Jasper glanced at the sky, which had begun to darken with vibrant colors. We should celebrate our achievements, he declared suddenly, the grin never leaving his face. What do you have in mind? More fried Xantharian vines? Ilara teased. Not quite, but close. Jasper grinned playfully. I think we need to savor the moment. Let's grab an Earth dessert. Ilara raised her eyebrows in surprise. You want to introduce me to Earth sweets? Absolutely. Just wait here, he said, dashing off toward a nearby food court. Ilara watched him, amusement crinkling the corners of her eyes. Despite her responsibilities as a commander, in this moment, she felt like a teenager sneaking out for fun, away from duty and protocol. It was liberating. Moments later, Jasper returned carrying a vibrant Earth dessert that almost seemed to glow. Behold, the legendary chocolate cake, he exclaimed, presenting it like a trophy. It's the moistest, richest experience of your life. Ilara took in the sight, layers of chocolate intertwined with creamy frosting. And this cake is good for you? Depends on your definition of good, he replied cheekily, taking a forkful and offering it to her. With a teasing smile, she hesitated, eyeing him as if deciphering a riddle. You expect me to trust you on this after I learned about the whoopee cushion? Trust the cake, he insisted, eyes wide in playful panic. Ilara laughed and surrendered, leaning forward to take a bite. The chocolate melted on her tongue, the sweetness enveloping her senses. All right, I concede. This is divine. See? Happiness in a dish. Jasper smirked, taking his own bite. I feel an Earth wisdom coming on. Happiness is meant to be shared. We could market that as the festival motto, Ilara joked. Jasper waved his fork excitedly. I love it. But it has to be in both Xanthar and Earth languages so everyone can embrace it. Now you're getting ahead of yourself, Ilara teased, but found the idea appealing. They shared the cake, savoring each bite while Jasper animatedly told stories of poorly executed cooking experiments from Earth. Like the time I tried to make this spicy dish and ended up setting fire to my kitchen, he narrated, his expression exaggerated. I learned a valuable lesson: do not underestimate jalapenos. Ilara laughed so hard that she almost choked on the cake. You're incorrigible. I'll take your culinary advice with a grain of salt. That's the spirit. Jasper raised his fork victoriously. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A group of Xantharian officials entered the cafe, crisp uniforms accentuating their precision and seriousness. They scanned the area, their expressions stoic, and Ilara tensed. Oh, looks like we're getting company, Jasper whispered, his tone a blend of excitement and caution. What now? Just act natural, Ilara replied quickly, trying to regain her composure. Stay calm. The officials approached, their leader's gaze focused directly on Ilara. Commander Ilara, we need to discuss matters of urgency. Of course, Ilara replied, keeping her voice steady as Jasper's expression shifted to concern. What is it? She asked, already preparing herself for a discussion on diplomatic matters. We need to address our recent negotiations with Earth, the official stated, his tone formal. Is this about the trade agreements? Ilara inquired. Yes, and there are serious implications, he continued. Your involvement with the human envoy has not gone unnoticed. Ilara's heart sank. We are discussing a festival. To bring peace, not conflict. The officials traded looks, and Ilara felt a pang of anxiety. Right now, we need to keep discussions strictly diplomatic. I appreciate your concern, she said. forcing a calm demeanor. However, the council is watching you closely, the leader warned, pointing a finger at her. Don't let your personal connections compromise your duty. The officials turned and walked away, leaving tension hanging in the air. Alara took a deep breath, looking back at Jasper, who wore a mixture of worry and confusion. What was that all about? He finally asked, shifting uneasily. They're concerned about my role as a commander. They believe my connection with you could complicate matters, Alara replied, exhaling slowly to shake off the tension. Just for having fun? What nonsense! Jasper shook his head, frustration clear. You have every right to enjoy this experience. I know, but they view relationships as distractions, she sighed. And I can't ignore my responsibilities. Jasper placed a hand over hers, warmth passing between them. You're not just a commander. You're a person who deserves to enjoy this too. She met his gaze, feeling a warmth spread through her. Thank you. I just wish it were simpler. Let them try to dictate your life, Jasper replied, determination in his voice. We'll make this festival happen, no matter what. Her heart stirred at his enthusiasm. You really believe we can navigate this? Absolutely. Together we can change the narrative, he said firmly, his grip reassuring. As they shared a moment of silence, a lingering connection deepened. They both knew the road ahead might be fraught with challenges, but faced with uncertainty, the warmth between them flickered like a beacon against the cold of duty. They would forge ahead together. Chapter 4. The Shift in the Stars. The day of the festival drew closer, and excitement buzzed through Galactica Prime. Alara and Jasper had been working tirelessly, organizing every detail and drafting documents to ensure both the Zinther Council and Earth representatives were on board. Today, however, they were prepared for their biggest challenge yet, the presentation to the Galactic Council. Alara paced in her quarters, the vibrant colors of her envoy's uniform contrasting with her anxious expression. We need to make them see the value of this festival, Jasper, she said, her voice slightly strained. Relax. You've got this, Commander, Jasper reassured, leaning against a wall casually, his hands behind his head. Just show them how this festival can strengthen relations. What if they dismiss the idea entirely? Alara fretted. The council isn't known for appreciating unconventional approaches. That's exactly why we need to be memorable. We must captivate their attention. Picture it. Music, laughter, a taste of Earth culture, all wrapped in humor. Jasper replied, his eyes lighting up again. Alara stopped pacing, regarding him seriously. And what if they don't find it appealing? They might see it as frivolous. Then we'll just have to prove them wrong, he declared, a grin spreading across his face. Let's show them the real benefits of connection. Alara took a deep breath and tried to absorb his energy. You really believe we can convince them? Of course, but we need a killer opening pitch, Jasper continued, moving closer to her. Something that makes all those serious faces crack a smile. What do you suggest? Alara asked, curiosity piqued. Jasper pondered for a moment, then said, how about we start by sharing a story? A story? Alara echoed, intrigued. Yes, you tell them a bit about humanity's history and how laughter has always served to unite us during tough times, he said, his voice growing animated. Then, I could tie it to what we're attempting to do here, showing them what laughter can create. Alara nodded, warming to the idea. That could work. They may relate to the concept of overcoming struggles. Exactly. And I could hit them with some of my best jokes to lighten the mood, he said with a playful wink. Alara chuckled at the thought, shaking her head. Just don't overdo it. Noted. A balanced presentation, right? He tapped his forehead thoughtfully. Are you ready to meet them? Yes, but a bit more preparation wouldn't hurt, she admitted, glancing at the holoscreens beside her, filled with their plans. Let's go over the key points, Jasper suggested, leaning over a screen, examining the proposals they had drafted. We'll need to highlight the educational aspects, the cultural exchange. Remind them that this festival is about unity, right? Cultural exchange will bring new perspectives, Alara recited, feeling her anxiety easing as they delved into the details. We can also emphasize the potential for economic growth between our planets. And it's fun. Just saying joy could invigorate interspecies cooperation isn't a bad angle, either, Jasper added, bouncing his head in agreement with himself. Agreed. We should showcase that the festival can be an annual event if successful. Perfect. I can see it now, the Festival of Galactic Unity. Wait, is that too cheesy? Jasper asked, biting his lip. Not at all, Alara said, laughing. It's catchy. It can stick in their minds. Excellent. I'll make sure to ask a Zinther artist to create an awesome logo, he said, enthusiasm radiating from every word. Now, let's run through the pitch one last time. They gathered around the holoscreen, mouths moving in synchronicity as they rehearsed. Alara spoke clearly about the positive impact the festival would have, weaving in Jasper's humor to lighten the heavy subject matter. As they practiced, Alara felt the bond between them solidify, the laughter punctuating their nerves. All right, final practice run, Jasper said dramatically, his voice deepening comically. Ladies and gentlemen of the Galactic Council, do not fear. The Festival of Galactic Unity is upon you. Alara couldn't hold back her laughter. That's not how I envision you introducing our festival. Hey, this is serious business, he replied, mock hurt. Let me have my moment. Fine, take your moment, she chuckled, shaking her head. You're quite the performer already. His grin widened, but then his expression shifted and he grew serious. Seriously, I'm proud of what we've accomplished together, Alara. You've been a great partner. You too, Jasper, she responded, feeling a warmth emanate from his words. For the first time since they began this venture, she took a moment to let her guard down. I feel like we're on this journey together. Together it is, he affirmed, his sincerity evident. No matter how things go, we've done our best. Now let's go shatter some expectations. As they made their way to the council hall, the tension in the air prickled like static. Alara entered first, Jasper right behind her, as they walked into a grand hall filled with representatives from various planets. Each seat was filled with delegates, their expressions as serious as the universe itself. Commander Alara of the Zinther Empire and Jasper Thompson of Earth, she announced, her voice echoing slightly. Welcome, the Chancellor said, a tall figure with skin that shimmered like silver. Proceed with your presentation. Alara nodded, flipping through her notes, taking a moment to catch Jasper's eye reassuringly. They exchanged a brief smile, and the nervous energy faded into determination. We stand before you today to propose the first Festival of Galactic Unity, Alara began, showcasing the holographic visuals of their plans, filled with brilliant colors and images of laughter, dancing, and celebration. This festival will serve as an opportunity to bridge cultures, Jasper interjected smoothly. Imagine a gathering where we can share art, music, and food across species. A vibrant venue to create dialogue. One of the representatives, a stir-faced individual from the Levians, raised an eyebrow. But what purpose does this festival truly serve? Alara took a deep breath. This festival aims not just to entertain, but to demonstrate how laughter and joy can strengthen alliances. We want to create a platform for open dialogue, a way to build cooperation through shared experiences. Jasper chimed in with a quick quip, and if any Zintharians feel underrepresented, I'm always available for a comedy routine. A few representatives exchanged glances, uncertain reactions flitting across their faces. Alara could feel the tension in the room, a few chuckles escaping while others remained stoic. Comedic relief aside, Alara continued, this is an opportunity to redefine our relationships with food, music, and art that transcends language. And why limit it to just Zinther and Earth? Jasper added, let's open it up to every species willing to participate. The wider the net, the richer the experience. You make a compelling case, the Chancellor admitted, shifting in their seat. We will require more details. What safeguards do you have in place? We've consulted with various representatives and included measures to ensure every faction feels represented and respected, Alara replied confidently. This festival can serve as a springboard for future alliances. Another delegate spoke up. How do we know there won't be conflict? A gathering this large can create instability. Here's the beauty of laughter, Jasper interjected, his tone serious yet light. It tends to diffuse tension. We'll employ mediators from various cultures to ensure smooth interactions and resolutions if needed. Alara shot him a grateful glance and realized just how well their collaboration worked. Together, they balanced humor with seriousness, facilitating the conversation smoothly. As they continued to answer questions, Ilara took mental notes on concerns they raised. She could see subtle shifts in expressions, notes being written down, and quiet murmurs among delegates. Finally, the Chancellor leaned back, taking in the entire presentation. "We appreciate your ambitious vision. We will deliberate on this matter and reconvene in 3 days to provide our decision." "Thank you for your time," Ilara said, relief flooding through her. "We look forward to your feedback." As they stepped away from the podium, the tension released, and Jasper glanced over at her, eyes wide. "Can you believe that? We did it." "For now," Ilara replied, still feeling the weight of their presentation. "But there's more to come." "More? This is just the beginning. We make a great team." Jasper responded, beaming. "Yes, I suppose we do," she acknowledged, unable to suppress a smile. "And you were right, we did capture their attention. Next up, let's plan for the after-party. You know, just to celebrate our victory," Jasper suggested, winking. Ilara laughed, feeling lighter than before. "Let's take it one step at a time, shall we?" "All right, but celebrations are mandatory if this festival happens," he retorted playfully. They walked out of the council hall, the cosmos glowing outside, reveling in the ebullient energy that filled the air. Together, they faced uncertainty head-on, and with every step, their connection deepened under the vast tapestry of the universe above. Chapter 5, Love, Laughter, and New Laws. 3 days had passed since their presentation to the Galactic Council, and anticipation buzzed in the air around Galactica Prime. The day of judgment had arrived, and Ilara felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as she stood before a towering holographic display in the council hall. The hall was filled with representatives from various species, their expressions a blend of intrigue and skepticism. Ilara glanced at Jasper, who stood beside her, his eyes as wide as saucers. "I feel like I'm at the edge of a black hole," he muttered, a hint of humor in his voice to mask his nerves. "Are you ready to confront the gravitational pull?" Ilara teased, sensing a flicker of confidence in her own stomach. "Ready as I'll ever be," he replied, forcing a smile. "Just remember, if it gets intense, we have the emergency plan." "Which is to break out the chocolate cake," she quipped back, her heart racing. The Chancellor entered the room and discussions hushed as the gathering turned their attention to the podium. "We have gathered today to evaluate the proposal presented by Commander Ilara and Envoy Jasper regarding the Festival of Galactic Unity," the Chancellor began. The tone was serious, laden with implications. Ilara felt the weight of every gaze upon her. "Here goes nothing," she whispered to Jasper. "The Council reviewed your proposal thoroughly, and we appreciate the innovative approach to cultural exchange," the Chancellor continued. "However, we must address specific concerns before making a decision." Jasper leaned closer to Ilara, his voice a low whisper. "Here come the hurdles. Let's navigate them together," she murmured back, taking a deep breath to steady herself. "Our chief concern is the feasibility of such a large gathering," said a representative from Vrostia, his voice commanding and careful. "How can you ensure safety and order when so many different beings come together?" Ilara took a step forward, adrenaline coursing through her. "We plan to implement a multi-tiered security approach involving local authorities from every participating planet. Additionally, festivals promote cooperation, leaving little room for conflict when laughter is involved," she asserted, glancing at Jasper for support. "Well said," Jasper added, nodding vigorously. "We want to foster connections, allowing people from different backgrounds to collaborate. Besides, laughter isn't the enemy. It's a calming force." A ripple of murmurs flowed through the chamber, and Ilara caught the eye of one delegate, a tall being with shimmering skin etched with ancient symbols. "A bold claim. But how will you manage cultural sensitivities?" "That's where collaboration comes in," Ilara replied, feeling emboldened. "We'll work hand-in-hand with cultural representatives from each species to ensure everyone's customs are respected. We want this to be a celebration of our diversity." "Yes, and if you have mediators at the event, conflict could be resolved on-site," Jasper suggested, his posture animated. "No one wants to ruin a festival over misunderstandings." The representative furrowed his brow but seemed to contemplate their words. Another delegate, a stern-looking Zinther with a lined face, spoke up. "And what of the budget? This festival will require substantial funding." "Of course," Ilara acknowledged. "We propose a modest funding model based on contributions from each participating nation. But we believe the long-term benefits of unity and friendship will vastly outweigh initial costs." At that moment, the Chancellor interjected, fingers steepled before them. "To support such a festival, we need guarantees. Should a conflict arise, what will be your plan? Ensure that laughter prevails?" Jasper offered, his enthusiasm unwavering. We'll commission comedians from different cultures to promote humor as a tool for empathy. Humor can bridge gaps more effectively than any treaty. Laughter erupted from around the chamber, and even the Chancellor's lips twitched upward, hinting at a smile. While that's a novel suggestion, we would still require a formal reserve of resources. Then let's create a committee that maintains funding oversight. Elara quickly proposed. Establish an inclusive group tasked with managing budgets, ensuring the festival doesn't create disparity among participating species. A committee? The stern delegate mused, stroking his chin. It's worth discussing. Their back and forth was met with nods of agreement from the others. Jasper seized the moment. We could include a festival committee on the council. Everyone can have a say. Elara shot him an impressed glance. Now that's a brilliant idea. Speaking of ideas, the Chancellor interjected, we need to address the potential media coverage of this event. The intergalactic audience will be watching closely. Expecting an audience to be entertained is only natural, Elara replied, her confidence returning. We'll generate excitement through teasers, a preview of performances. The more we engage the audience, the more they will want to attend. What about special guest appearances? Jasper asked. We could invite renowned artists and performers. Some characters are beloved galaxies apart. Exactly. We can organize and broadcast a special show the night before, Elara suggested, heart racing. Discussing our histories could amplify stakeholder engagement. As the conversation continued, Elara felt a sense of camaraderie grow among the council members. Laughter and curiosity alighted on faces as Jasper's creative ideas slowly quelled apprehension, framing a vision full of potential. After an intense discussion, the Chancellor finally spoke, his voice commanding yet softer. Your presentation has given us substantial points to consider. The Council appreciates your enthusiasm and innovative perspective. A ripple of conversations began anew among the members, their excitement palpable. Members started to nod approvingly, leaving Elara hopeful. However, the Chancellor continued, there's one thing we must address further before we can commit to this festival. We require a formal statement regarding the commitment to fostering interspecies ties. We will name the festival a unifying event governed by a new galactic law to underscore this focus. A law? You mean establish a guideline for intergalactic festivities based on cooperation? Elara stammered, caught off guard. Exactly. This would ensure every species participates in a manner that uplifts and maintains respect, the Chancellor explained. If you're willing to take on this responsibility, we will draft the new law in your honor. Yes, absolutely, Jasper exclaimed with zeal. What better way to affirm unity? Elara barely contained her excitement. We will draft it meticulously. Ensure every representative's voice is heard. Very well then, the Chancellor declared. In 3 galactic days, we will reconvene to finalize this decision, provided you present the law draft before we do. The council members murmured in agreement, looking up with anticipatory expressions. The prospect of creating laws rooted in joyful cooperation invigorated the room, transforming the atmosphere entirely. Once the council's meeting concluded, Elara turned to Jasper, the exhilaration clear in her eyes. We did it. They're on board. I mean, we collectively convinced them, Jasper replied, barely able to contain his excitement. A festival and a law. Just think. Our event could pave the way for future gatherings, fostering deeper connections across galaxies. Elara observed, her heart racing. Now let's get to work drafting that law, Jasper suggested. And let's ensure it's as entertaining as possible. As they exited the council chamber, energy flowed between them, becoming a palpable force. They repositioned themselves toward their next mission, the sunlit corridors of the palace inviting them forward, a canvas for their collaborative spirit. Think we can include an article about celebrating humor as a guiding principle? Elara asked with a playful spark in her eye. Definitely. That is a must. Jasper grinned back, the excitement blooming between them, as they walked side by side into the unknown future, ready to leave their mark on the